Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphones are your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
What up?
What up?
Two-man
We're missing somebody.
Show tonight with the
I'm pissed off.
storm. Kenny, we almost had a disaster just now.
Did it spew? Did it almost spew everywhere?
It started, but I stopped it.
How do you stop it?
I don't know, but I did it.
You did it.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're having Memphis made Fireside, which I'm fairly certain that TJ and I have done before, but he says that we haven't. So we're going to have to check the Excel sheet.
Hold on. We might have somebody in the waiting room here. Look down. Is he actually here?
I can't see a waiting room.
Oh, yeah.
You're the host, not
Sorry.
me. I did try to log in earlier, and you probably got an email with a 6-digit code it was asking for.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on. I was in the middle of recording.
Hey, I do see a chat window. TJ says, I'm here.
Oh my gosh, look who we have. Hold on. Let me bring him in here.
Let me in, he says. Somebody's ringing the doorbell.
Somebody's
It's
ringing
about
the doorbell.
Time.
I thought this was about to go south quickly with you.
Look,
In
when
a
I
minute,
tell you,
and 20 seconds into the show, TJ joins.
when I tell you 4 different pair of headphones, I'm not exaggerating. 4 different pair of headphones, all dead. I'm using my wife's headphones, but we're here, so it's okay.
We for a duo that used to do this every week on StreamYard for about a year. Now, when you throw us into a StreamYard, Kenny, which he did late today, told us we were StreamYarding. It just goes
South quickly.
out the window.
Yeah.
I get on, and Kenny was freezing left and right. I couldn't hear anything. TJ tried every pair of headphones in the city of Memphis and couldn't get any of them to work.
You had a nasty. Your title was gross. Your title on your name was gross.
I don't know what my wife had been doing on my computer.
I don't think we can use those words on this PG-rated podcast.
What was
Stanky
the name?
booty, stanky booty, or something.
You gotta tell your wife to stop using your StreamYard, bro.
Stop using my street name.
Stop using that's my prison name.
Despite what Trey says, we have not done this. Trey's lying. We have not done it.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's right when I got in.
Oh,
he's got headphones now. He can hear.
I really thought we'd done it before.
No,
but,
I look back, man.
I mean, I know that I've had it, so maybe that's just what I'm thinking of. I had Fireside multiple times, but it is a 12-ouncer, so it's gonna have to be a shorter show.
Again.
Betty Cat, fellas.
What are we
dead period?
What are we gonna talk about? See, here's my issue. March Madness games? And here's what I want to say to y'all. Y'all have done this to yourself, because I know the title of this podcast is Tigers Untapped, but you have made this an exclusively Tigers podcast. And listen, I respect y'all's opinion on a plethora of topics, not just Tigers related stuff. Y'all can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Kenny, we're the number 1 rated Tigers athletics podcast
in the entire damn world.
It's true.
It's true.
We can't deny it.
Don't get away from what got you here. Is that what you're saying?
We still have a bit of basketball news. Even with the season ending, the off season's just beginning, Timothy. Don't give me that look. We had another portal entry.
Oh, wow.
We did.
Jalen Young, who at one point was going to be our starting point guard.
I don't think he was ever actually going to be the starting point guard.
And before he entered the portal today, you could argue that he was going to be our starting point guard next year.
No.
For now, there's not a point guard on the roster other than him.
No.
Dude,
don't bring me Joseph Cooper in here.
I would much rather roll out Joe Hooper. No,
he was
realistically he was never realistically going to be the starter. You know that.
I know that. Well,
he is plan C no matter what.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to get to plan C.
Hear me out.
Hey, I
think I would rather have Sky Clark. Yeah.
It took me a second because for whatever reason, when you just said that name, I was thinking of the dude from Doug. What's his name? Sky Davis.
The shoe guy.
Gosh, those shoes.
Yeah. Look, Kenny's the one freezing now. It's not me this time.
I know. He is. That's just what was happening earlier before you got on. So pixely.
It's not me. It's not me. That's all I can say is
I will say I will miss Jalen's effort.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're clowning on him, just making jokes, right? He is an absolute dog on the court. Like he put out nothing but effort every time. Offensively, he's just quite limited, right? I think what you got from him was Alo with 2 inches, right? Obviously, I don't think he's probably as. Yeah, I think he's probably 2 inches taller. I think he's listed
at like 6'3", and I would say 3 or 4 inches.
What was Alo listed? Or did they not list?
Playing solitaire with our, I don't know what people are shuffling around left and right.
Listen,
man, motion sickness.
When you have really crappy, when it's supposed to be so impacted by rain.
Nope. Some about rain. It is storming bad out there, but Kenneth, you have frozen again.
Is what Kenny said right then. Am I clear?
Anyway,
can you see me? Am I coming through?
You are crystal clear. You were
crystal that direct clear. Connect, my man.
Jalen Young, we hardly knew ye. Yeah. We will miss you, maybe some of us. I don't know. Anyway, just another body we have to fill. But also in portal news, this time from the coaching staff, which is Kenny and I were talking about this before you got on. Yes. Munz released it as a breaking story. It's not, 3 or 4 years ago, it wouldn't be a breaking story because nothing's happening. He's staying on staff. Rick Stansbury, if you're not following along, came out and basically told, I guess, Commercial Appeal that he was staying. His intent is to be here, continue to work with Coach Hardaway. He says he thinks he can, help. He believes in what Coach Hardaway is doing. They can win championships here. It's just weird how, we're in a day and age now with the transfer portal and all this stuff that, if somebody's not coming out and making an effort to announce that they are coming back, the assumption is that they're not coming back, which is completely backwards than what it should be. Everybody should be staying until they're announcing that they're leaving. You're muted.
I wasn't talking. No, I think it's interesting with Rick because he's been a head coach before, right? He has opportunities out there. If someone wanted him, they could easily get him. So it does seem like Rick actually likes his time here and that he does think that, something could happen here. There's something could work well. And it's not just kind of service talk or lip talk, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah. I like it. I think there need to probably be some other changes on the staff, though, if I'm being honest. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I'm a full proponent.
I don't know that those are going to happen, but
sure. Yeah, I would agree with you there. And this is going to be probably misconstrued in a couple of different ways, but I feel like Penny fills the staff with just his friends, right? People he trusts, as opposed to guys that could probably make the team better. So, I just personally think there's better options out there.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. It's definitely, I think it's a trust thing, right? He's bringing in people that he has a trust relationship with. Well, I don't know, like Borman. Do they really have a pre-existing relationship?
Well, probably less Borman, more Faraji.
Faraji. JJ, yeah, but see, at least Faraji's been on a staff at the collegiate level, right? It's not like he just brought in
a mile down when it was bench.
I know, but still, he's at least been there. It's not like he just. It's not like you and I are boys with Penny and he just threw us on the staff. Just throw us on the staff.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that, but I mean, I think if you're going to just be hiring guys, that have college basketball experience at the coaching level, Todd Day probably makes more sense than bringing in Faraji. Granted, he's at
Sure.
a super small school, but it's at least a guy who's been around. I'm pretty sure he did some. Pretty sure he went to the NBA. Could be making that
Who,
up.
Todd?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good that Stansbury is coming back. I mean, he's basically came in and righted the ship with the NIL, right? Like that's what he's known for, dropping bags, getting talent. So I don't have any quarrels about Stansbury coming back at all. I think that's good to have a little bit of stability. Hopefully the two of them can kind of get back and right the ship and build an identity, hopefully around what Penny's philosophy has been in defensive minded, playing hard, right? Defense travels. And so we'll see what they're able to do in the offseason, what they go after. I think if you're in the Discord, if you're following along on Twitter, there's a lot of guys that they've been reaching out to defensively. I don't know what it is with us going after these Michigan dudes, though.
Highly recruited guys. I mean, for the most part, they're all highly rated guys.
I get it, I guess, but that was a bad Michigan team.
Yeah, it was a very bad Michigan team, and they were also poorly coached. And I think that plays a part in it. But I can't remember the big guy's name. Reed, is that his name? Something Reed? Does that make sense?
The center, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's what, 6'8", 260, I think he's listed at, which is a very large human being, very similar to Malcolm and the way that he's built, just a large guy. But he seems pretty nimble. I mean, he does, in fact, seem like he has good footwork and he's kind of moving around and things like that. But I'd be curious what he brings if that is someone they do, in fact, go after. Like, rim running, does he fit that? Is he a guy who's just going to live down low and play for the little drop off passes, when someone drives in and just kind of dumps it off? Is that kind of what he's going to do? Is he going to play above the rim? Can he step out? Can he play on the perimeter any? So, I'd be curious to know what and don't let me lie to you. Like I follow Michigan basketball any means. I think they were like an 8-win team. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's right.
So Terrace Reed, like you said, I think that's kind of the concern. He's a former 4-star. He's a top 40 player in the class of 22. I mean, last year he did start all but one game. It looks like 9 and 7, averaged a block and a half, 52% from the field. I've seen limited, but I have some limited highlights of him. And he is vertically, he gets up there. He can block shots. Like, he's going up, getting the ball, dunking it. But I have seen some people compare him to Malcolm. And I guess Malcolm at his best is fine. But when people talk about Malcolm, it's just right now there's just bad taste in my mouth when Malcolm's mentioned. Not just with the scandal, but just like 5 years of different things that have happened. Whether it's the FAU game last year and getting in a huddle fight with Kendrick or whatever have you, right? Just like things you've heard attitude-wise and that kind of thing. And I don't think that's what the comparison is. I think what they're trying to compare to is when we saw Malcolm at his best, a la Tulane this year when he had 15 blocks. That's kind of what they're talking about in Terrace Reed.
Yeah.
Which I think I would be for, but it still doesn't, he still doesn't seem like the super athletic, which is what I think is fit perfectly with you. And I'm talking like Duran, Precious, those guys. Precious was really probably a 4, but he was playing a 5. But it works in Penny's system, right? That athletic guy that can run up and down the floor. And I don't know that Terrace Reed is that, but I think he's got potential to fill in and fit nice.
Give me a Musa Cisse. Give me a guy who's extremely one-sided.
with Stickum.
Yeah, I'll take him extremely one-sided, right? Very good defensive player, can't catch the ball, can't do anything other than just run the court, right?
If you had
pretty
to
limited.
pick,
I'll take that, honestly.
If you had to pick, we've kind of experienced both with Penny now, right? Where we've had teams that are very defensive-minded, defense first, and will go on these droughts where it feels like they can never score the ball, but they're not ever out of the game because they play such hard-nosed defense. It just may be streaks of 5+ minutes with the scoring drought. And then you had teams like this year where you're losing games 94-89 or whatever they were, 94-86. Which do you prefer? There's obviously frustrations on both ends. Offensively,
right?
You're scoring the ball, but you can't get a stop to save your life. The other way around, you're getting stops, potentially keeping them down, but you're going minutes without scoring.
Honestly, I think I would rather take the defensive teams of yesteryear.
I think
because
so
like
too.
the defense was consistent, and I guess for the most part the offense was consistent this year, but there were definitely points and times where even the offense kind of fell off and got very stagnant, and you were super
Right.
limited
Well,
in
I
what you
think
could do.
part of it too is like you may not come out and make shots every single night.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to have off night shooting. And if you're not playing defense hardly ever, like you might as well chalk that up as an L right away.
Yeah, agreed.
Whereas if you're coming out and you're a defensive minded team and you're playing defense, like you're going to at least keep yourself in that and have a chance probably. I don't know. I think I'm kind of with you. As frustrating as it was to go through periods of time where you're looking at 6-7 minutes maybe without scoring a point or making a field goal, maybe getting some free throws or something, like I think I get more frustrated giving up 100 points to UAB.
100%, 100%. And I'll tell you, who makes perfect sense for this team and for Penny? Not that I'm not going to say it's doable, right? Like, let's not get it confused.
I'm very interested where you're going with this.
Yaxel from UAB.
Wow.
If they can find a way to make that happen, dude.
I don't know if they're going to. And what did he tweeted something today? I've missed the tweet.
I don't know. I missed the tweet as well. I saw people talking.
I saw it talking about in the Discord. I don't know. Let me look. Let me see if I can find this real quick.
I was actually looking for it right now, and I don't see
3 hours ago. Have you seen his profile picture on Twitter? It's him wearing an American Conference cowboy hat.
What are you gonna do? I mean, size-wise, mobility.
All he
I think
tweeted,
he's a great fit.
TJ, I found it.
Talking about Tuesday?
Today at 6:58 p.m., he tweeted the word Tuesday. As people reading a lot into that, that could literally mean anything.
Yeah, I don't. I'm assuming.
I guess people are assuming that means he's entering the portal tomorrow.
Yeah,
I would be thrilled with the Yaxel, to be honest with you.
I think he put together a big enough campaign this year that he would pull in Major Quan, right? I don't know if Memphis is going to win the dollar amount battle there, but everything, yeah. I mean, I'm seeing other mentions of it that it's a toss up if he's coming back or not. So we'll see how that works out, right?
So I typed in Tuesday on Google. Tuesday is the day of the week between Monday and Wednesday. According to the international standard ISO 8601, Monday is the first day of the week. Thus, Tuesday is the second day of the week.
Agreed.
Are you
for all those weirdos that think Sunday's the first day?
Okay, yeah. It goes here and says, according to many traditional calendars, Sunday is the first day of the week. So Tuesday would be the third day of the week. You're on board that Sunday is the first day of the week?
No, I'm the other way around. Monday starts my
Monday's
week.
the first day. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I think I've always felt like Monday was the first day of the week, but I think we've had some arguments.
Yeah. Hear me
and
out. Don't come at me with your bookends.
I might be on the Sunday as the first day.
No, you're not. You're like, hey, someone says, what did you do this weekend? Oh, on Friday, I went to a movie. On Saturday, I hung out with my kids.
Exact time
on Sunday, I cut the
weekend
grass.
starts?
Oh, Friday at 4, for sure.
Really, that late?
Yeah, I think so. Because I got meetings, dude. 3 o'clock. I can't be calling
Meetings are
3
the worst.
o'clock on Friday.
I've always had this. So there's a big push for 4-day work week.
Yeah, it's a huge push. It ain't happening though.
I know. It's been happening in some European countries though. They've done a lot of POCs with it. It's been working well. I don't hate it at all. But I've always kind of been the one that says Why don't we go to the 3 and 2 half day? Look, hear me out. Friday, you get off at noon, right? So you have the whole afternoon Friday, and then Mondays. So you get out of the week a little bit early, and then you ease back into the week. So nobody shows up to work on Monday until after lunch. You work 1 to 5 on Mondays. Like ease your way back in. You know what I mean? You kind of have the feel of a 3-day weekend on Monday morning, but you also get kind of a 3-day weekend on Friday. You're working 4 full days, but you're still 5 days potentially.
I don't know.
I'm all for the 4-day work week.
Anyway, I don't know how we got there, except Sunday
it's because
is
Jackson
the last
tweeted
day of the
Tuesday.
week. Yeah.
So
how'd you get to the second day of the week? I don't even know how you got there.
I looked up Tuesday on Wikipedia. That's just what it said.
All right. What?
So we'll see. By the time this comes out, Tuesday will have been yesterday. Right now, as this we're recording, Tuesday is tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with the Axel on Tuesday. Does he enter the portal or does he not? We'll take a quick break and you can come back and find out what happened.
Tuesday was the 23rd anniversary of the day that the charter dropped, man. The Grizzlies got a team and shit, man. Let me read the tweet. On this day, 2001, Micah Heisley announced his plans to relocate the Vancouver Grizzlies to Nashville. No, the Memphis. I just jumped all the way into the future, y'all.
You got to come back to the past.
When I say, man, that date changed my life, bro.
Changed my life,
like,
too.
as a kid who
oh my God,
was a basketball fan, Tiger basketball fan. And if you're a Grizzlies fan, like the Chris Vernon show was such a big part of your life during that time. And he's definitely somebody that I emulate what I do. Those days of like being an early Grizzlies fan when it wasn't really cool to be a Grizzlies fan, you know what I mean? And just how this team has affected me, how this team has put money in my pocket either one way or another. And just, man, like it's been a super fun ride, man. And today commemorates that day for sure.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
This isn't a surprise that Rick Stansbury is staying, but I think if you just sort of read through what this means as compared to years past, is there's finally a little bit more staff continuity where Penny's not been able to have that in the past. To have his lead assistant stay for 2 or more years, that's just not been a reality. And to have Rick Stansbury here for another year, that's nice.
Penny doesn't have to go out and search for another assistant. Penny's focus solely needs to be on recruiting and building this team for next year, not having to worry about going out and finding another coach to bring in. And we know typically, much like he does with players, he likes to make splashy coaching hires. So then you got to go through that whole process. I'm glad Rick's staying. I think it helps this staff and whatever team is on the floor for Memphis next year, whatever this roster is composed of player-wise, I think that helps them.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
We back, and Kenny and his vapor back.
man! What a wild
break!
What a wild adventure with my internet.
Kirk Sig. You guys big Kirk signature fans?
Yeah, of course.
I don't go to Costco as much.
That is the single tallest, longest thermos I have ever seen in my entire life.
What do you mean?
What? That's like.
It's a Route 44.
Does Drake make those thermoses? What is that?
Why Drake? Oh,
ask TJ.
No, it would be a little bit floppier if it was Drake.
Oh, can you imagine a flaccid thermos?
It'd be a fun thing to drink out of.
You're double.
Wait a
Ladies
minute,
and gentlemen, if you've never seen Kenny in person, which I find to be hard, what are you, 6'6"?
6'4". Stop it.
You feel 6'6".
6'5". We'll split in the middle. 6'5".
Anyway, Kenny's
said-
not a small human being, and he just double-handed that thermos, and it still looked massive. No, you had your other hand down lower. That is a very large. Is that a Stanley for the men?
No, it's a Bubba.
Bubba, wow, that fits. It's a Bubba keg.
It's my favorite cup. It's because this thing will keep coffee
Did you get
hot.
that at a Buc-ee's?
Oh no, my wife got it for me somewhere, and it'll keep coffee hot for like 17 hours. It's awesome.
I'm not sure why you would need coffee hot in a thermos for that long, but
do you like to drink cold coffee?
Yeah, iced coffee is the superior coffee.
Okay,
yeah, I'm a cold brew specifically.
Iced coffee, sure. Lukewarm coffee is not good. Iced.
Then just throw some ice cubes in it, and
we are off topic. How do we redirect back away?
This is
Kenny. Before we actually fully get back on, what is the first day of the week?
This is what happens when
it's Monday.
It's Monday. Thank you. Okay. Moving on.
Interesting.
It is Monday. That's just the answer.
All right, getting back to it. Did you guys see the article that John Martin put out last week? He put out 3 things, his suggestions that Penny needs to do to avoid repeating the disaster that happened this season. Do you know what those 3 things are?
I could take a guess, but I'll let you go ahead and.
Okay, you guess, and then I'll tell you.
Back to playing defense. Does that count?
Okay. I mean, yeah, we kind of talked about it in the first half.
Sure.
Please tell me it wasn't recruit hometown Memphis guys.
That was not on the list, but it was pick the right pieces.
Right. But that does not include.
I don't think you can just go out and get a bunch of talented guys if they don't fit together, right? They don't have roles established. I think we agree to that, right?
Yeah.
You can't just throw a bunch of talent on the court.
Very familiar.
Number 2 was invest in and keep multi-year players, which TJ and I think, and Kenny talked about at the end of last season. And part of the reason we were excited about the likes of Chandler Lawson coming back and some of those guys, and then adding some transfers in, because you felt like, hey, if you're building culture, guys that have been here, they've played for Penny, they understand, kind of helps get those newer guys going in the right direction. So I agree with that one. The last one, stop trying to coach the team as if they are an NBA team. I've thought about this, and I've had
provide me some context.
Yeah, what do you mean by that last one exactly?
So this is the last one, and John said it was the most important. Hardaway has the mind of an NBA player because that's who he is. If it's not for an injury, most smart NBA minds agree that he would have been one of the greatest to ever play. His feeling instincts were as good as we've ever seen. The issue comes in when Penny assumes that he assumes the same of his players by default. It's why we hear so much of, well, we had a game plan. We knew what the game plan was. We didn't just execute it. He treats the Tigers program like it's an NBA team. He comes in, does his job, and expects them to do theirs, but that's not how college basketball works. It's unfortunately not that simple. Sure, we had older guys. They were an older team, but it's still guys that are in college. And I've kind of had sort of the same sentiment last couple of years, that I think maybe not necessarily to that degree of coaching them as if they're an NBA team, but to me, I have no question in my mind that Penny knows basketball as well as anybody on the planet. Gesundheit. I think when somebody is as good and as talented as they are, it can oftentimes be difficult to teach others that may not be as talented as them. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, we've seen that across the board, right? Like even in the NBA coaching ranks, right?
So like he's super capable of a lot of things, very impressive on the basketball court, knows where to be, knows what to do. And I feel like because to him, it comes so easy to him that he thinks that in teaching, I should just pick it up right away. In reality, that's not always the case, right? Like some people need extra, and I'm not saying that he doesn't provide extra. And that's just total speculation. But John Martin saying stop coaching them as if they're an NBA team kind of resonated with me.
That's interesting. So basically, it's dumb things down for these guys so that they can get it.
Right. Or also, like, it may take a little more effort than you just creating a game plan and having the expectation that they're going to go out and execute it. Right. Like, if the game plan's not working, adjust it, or what, do what you got to do. Make sure that they fully understand what they have to
do. Yeah. I mean, I understand that. I mean, I think that that's kind of the. Did you guys watch any of the Mind of the Game or Minding the Game, the new podcast with JJ Redick and LeBron James?
I've seen some clips of it, but no, I haven't watched the whole thing.
It's fascinating to me as somebody who loves the game of basketball to watch them like break down stuff. Like, it's fascinating. Yeah. Like, and they talk about that, like, the mindset of a guy like LeBron, who talks about, like, at 9-10 years old, he was able to take plays and that were drawn up and flip them. Right. Yeah. Like, flip them on the court. Like, if they're to start on the right side, being able to flip it to the left side and it not confuse him. He's like, even NBA players struggle with that. Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot
I saw that clip and I put myself in that scenario. I was like, damn, if somebody drew up a play right now and was, all right, let's run it from the left side. I was like, would I be somebody that was like, okay, hey, I need you to put that on the dry erase board real quick. Let me see. Or would I be able to do it? That is kind of impressive and things you don't think about.
Yeah, no, but and he's like, that's just a gift that I was given early on in my life, and he's like, and I just so happened to also be passionate about the game of basketball, and so there's that level of like kind of taking that gift that he had and pushing it towards basketball, and I think that's a struggle that a lot of guys that are former greats, or in LeBron James's case, a great in the NBA, all time great, which, let's be real, Penny Hardaway, without like you said earlier, without an injury, ending his career the way that it did, would have been one of the greats of all time. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind. There's no way that I think anybody can. People that are greats in the NBA now look at Penny Hardaway as a great. So, like, that to me tells me all I need to know about his mind and his IQ about basketball. But that is kind of a struggle that I think a lot of players that are at that level have, is thinking that everybody's like that, right? Like, that everybody can do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, isn't that kind of a job of a coach to be able to, like, know those things about their players? Like, making those adjustments.
And that's
like, I don't know.
To throw in Hankins here. An interview that he did. What?
Go ahead.
Why are you shaking your head?
No, go ahead.
He did an interview right after he got the coordinator job, right? I think back in January. And basically, to summarize it, he was saying, at the end of the day, as a coach, I am a teacher. And my number one priority is to make sure that my players understand what they are doing and why they are doing it. And if they're not understanding that, it all falls on me. Like, I've got to figure out how to get them to understand that. Like, just providing them the information is not enough. If they do not understand, at the end of the day, I am the teacher, and I need to make sure I am doing everything in my power that when they walk out of that room and they go on the practice field, they understand what we are doing and why we are doing it.
But what are their film sessions? I have to wonder, like, it makes me go, okay, what do your film sessions look like? Like, how are you, is it part of being a great coach is being able to delegate, I think, as well, like delegate to others to do to like be, we know for a fact Faraji was considered the defensive coordinator for this team, right? Like, we know that
he should be out of a job.
We also know that, but at the same time, part of an issue that a lot of these former NBA greats have when they start to coach is that there's a struggle between of like delegation. They're so used to carrying everything and being like, when they walk into the room, it's the Penny Hardaway room, or it's the Michael Jordan room, or it's the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryant room. Like, you're an expert on everything. And I don't think that Penny has enough time in the day to be able to get everything done that needs to be done to be successful. So that's why building a staff around him, that bringing in a guy like a Rick Stansbury, bringing in a guy like a Larry Brown, who guys have seen more basketball than Penny Hardaway has, right? Like, these guys are legends in college basketball coaching. And so I just wonder, like, is that a part of stop coaching this team like an NBA team that John's talking about, is learning how to be a delegator, learning how to give up some of the control over things, right? Like leaning on others.
But it's so difficult, especially in Penny's situation when you're the guy here. It's your team. It's the Penny Hardaway show every Sunday night, right? Like, it's not the Memphis basketball show. It is like, it's his name attached to everything, and delegating can be difficult.
Those are the things.
If you're a perfectionist,
how many times have we heard, Penny trains these guys one-on-one himself?
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, no one is doing that. I mean, like in rare occasions, maybe, but like, that's what your staff's for. Like, why are you
let's be frank,
going one-on-one with these guys?
Let's be frank. Most of the college staffing, most of the college coaching head coaches are like 70 and 5'11", so they're not going to be able to do a whole lot, right? Like, we're talking about. But no, I mean, I think that's legit. Like, I think we talk all the time about Penny 6 years in. He's still learning how to be a college coach, learning how to coach. I think he's learning how to still be a coach in terms of how to delegate and how to let go of some things, like how to not, like, almost kind of be not have to be everywhere in every meeting and every film session and everything all the time. Right. Yeah. Like, and I think that because is he still learning basketball? No. I mean, sure, there's certain things, I'm sure, like wrinkles to plays and things like that. But in terms of concepts, he ain't learning basketball still. He's got it. Right.
Do you think there is any downside to Penny running an NBA offense at the collegiate level? Or is it simply
it's a different game? It's a different game.
Sure.
College basketball is a different game.
Does that simply come down to execution? Like, obviously at the college level, people aren't hitting shots like they are at the NBA level, right? Is that kind of what it comes down to, you think?
100%.
Just like that style.
Yeah, I mean, it's
typically not going to work.
It's shot making, it's knowing spacing on the floor, but it's not defensively. Like, it's, to Kenny's point, it's just a different game. Like,
sure.
You also can't clog the paint up defensively in the NBA. So it opens up things.
NBA is about pace and space. The NBA game is all about pace and space. College basketball is about swing passes, getting wide open shots.
I mean, ball movement and making the defense work, finding the spots in the zone or whatever.
Finding the weak, leverage against the weak spots of a zone. Like, that's what I mean. Because like, if a team is playing man-to-man defense all the time, then the concepts are pretty much the same in whatever. But a lot of teams are going to that 1-3-1. They're going to that matchup zones. They're going to the matchup zones extended out to the 3-point or to the half court line. It's literally about just finding, like, creating that leverage, whether it be through passing or through screening, to get to that, to break that zone, to get to that breaking part of the zone. And that's what I think a lot of teams struggle with, because it takes, these guys are so used to being able to just take people off the dribble and not get a lot of great shots. The thing is so different about college basketball, I think, is just that the shots that are being taken are not the best shots. They're not easy shots.
Well, and they're being taken by the people that aren't the best shot makers. Like
100%.
Every TJ and I talked about it in the first half in reference to Memphis, but 8 out of 10 college basketball games you can watch, at some point, the score drought clock is going to pop up.
Oh, 100%.
Like every game.
Every time.
And it's going to be at least 5 minutes.
I think Alabama scored, how many points did they score against Grand Canyon the other day? Like yesterday.
96 or something.
96 points. And they still, there was a point in that game where there was like a 4-minute drought for them. And they didn't score anything. And that was, dude, that game was wild, by the way. I don't know if y'all watched that game.
Sorry. They only scored 72. I don't know where I got 96. I think I'm still thinking
there was another game.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was thinking of Houston, but I still had UAB Memphis on my mind when we gave up 96 or whatever it was to them. Yeah, it was only 72-61. But anyway, yeah, that's like Alabama's been one of the better offensive teams, and even they are putting up a scoring drought clock. Like
100%.
It happens in every college basketball game. All right. Spring practice is underway for football. We had a little article come out by Jonah Dillon today and got some insight on the transfer portal additions. Did you see this?
Didn't. You
I
told me
forgot
about
about
it, and
some
that's
of
not the
these.
first I've ever heard it.
Trenton Holler from Marshall got in here. 6-year kid. They're expecting a lot of him. He's been phenomenal.
Starting
Already
center,
has
right?
picked up. I think so. Already, he's obviously being with Ramsey at Marshall previously. He's picked up the playbook like that. I mean, he's going to make us say Jacob likes who.
In 1 year? I don't know about all that.
Hey, when this team makes the playoff, Jalen Nichols, SEC tackle. Supposedly he was going to be a starter last year. Then he got hurt. Is that right?
Yep.
Kind of sure
the same
ACL.
The same storyline as Xavier Hill at LSU.
He said exactly what you would expect of an SEC tackle. Big, wide body, solid frame kid, incredibly strong. Mario Anderson, another South Carolina. We got a little pipeline to the Gamecocks. Good addition to a solid running back room. A guy that will fight, will strain. I mean, you got to love that, right?
I mean, think about it, though. Think about this, though. Losing 3 starters off the offensive line, and they got Xavier Hill, who's a former SEC lineman. They got the kid from South Carolina, former SEC lineman, both of them competing for starting jobs, plus a big-time 6-year kid coming in as a starting center who was played under Ramsey for years. I'm telling you, man, we might see a beast of a offensive line this year.
Yeah, and I'm not. I will say, having lost likes,
Pounders, y'all's boy,
who should not be named, Davion Carter. I mean, I was worried about offensive line, and now, I know it's only one report, and it's from Noah Franklin as a strength coach, but I don't know that I'm at. This might be our best offensive line.
I don't know about the best offensive lineman because there's
2018, 19.
No, even before.
Well, no. Okay, come on. I meant in the Ryan Silverfield era.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's probably true. I mean, you got to think of the size alone of these dudes is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's huge.
We haven't even mentioned ULM Lewis. Probably gonna be a tackle for us, and I think he's 320 pounds, 6'6". Like what? Hill. I mean, we've talked about some of these guys already. The size and the beef on this offensive line is going to be ridiculous. Yep. Keydrell
said Lewis, he came in. He's a phenomenal worker, but he's a little bit heavy. He's a little bit bigger.
Summer workouts are going to take care of that. He'll be fine.
Yeah. He said he's gotten it down a little bit, lost some body fat, put on good lean mass. So they're excited to see what they can do this summer.
They do like their offensive lineman a little bit lean mass, don't they? Like a little bit leaner. Like even Xavier Hill, he's a big kid, but he's not fat at all. Like he's got a lot.
I thought that quote from Noah was weird, saying he came in a little bit bigger than we've had our previous lineman. I'm like, don't you kind of want him?
Isn't that kind of the point?
Let's get him as beefy as we can get.
Well, no, I don't think you want offensive linemen that are going to be out there slowing the game down, right? You don't want these big hefty guys that are going to be
dudes
gassing
that are moving
out.
Bodies.
Yeah, you've got to be mobile. I think that's the biggest thing that they've always looked for with offensive linemen that are mobile. They can make that type of zone read step and reach out to the guy next to him quickly. So I think that's probably what he was going for there. A lot of these guys on the defensive side, I think is where I'm super interested, right? Mm-hmm. We brought in 45 linebackers 7 safeties.
I keep
Dude, that
forgetting
linebacker
Javonte
core.
Mackey's here.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting. He's only he's only a sophomore, is that right?
Maybe a
I think a
redshirt
redshirt sophomore. Yeah, so he's still got what, 3 years?
Man.
Yeah. And that's someone I think that's going to be your Jalen. Like that's your new Jalen Allen, I think. Your vocal leader, someone coming off the edge. He just makes perfect sense there for me. So,
And isn't Chandler the same boat? Isn't Chandler a redshirt sophomore?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think is he? I thought he's a
junior, I think,
last
now.
year.
Oh, is he a
he'll be a
is he a junior? Man.
Yeah.
Still got 2 more years of Chandler. Oh my God.
Hopefully. TJ's been putting him in the portal already since like September.
I just said he's talented. The people are going to call for him.
A guy forgot about Jair Shorter from Auburn.
Yeah. That's someone I think they're definitely going to see snaps from early on.
He said last week, I guess they had those like tracking bras that you see them wear. That's got the device, tells you how far they've run and their activity level.
TJ also wears a bra.
His is a bro.
Oh, sorry.
Tracked him at 22 miles an hour last week in practice.
That doesn't shock me one bit. You got to think this is a guy.
There are days I don't drive my car 22 miles an hour.
You got to think going back, where was it at? Some ridiculous stats. First of all of his average catches are out of this world. But let's see, 2022 at North Texas, 23 catches, 628 yards, 27.3 yards per catch.
Yards a catch.
With 11 touch. Yeah.
Sheesh.
So 27 yards is an average. That's absurd. Not to mention that 23 receptions and he hauled in 11 touchdowns.
So literally every other pass to him was a tutty.
Yes, a bomb, mind you.
See the next version of, is he Joe Skates? But with spectacles.
All due respect to Joseph.
Yeah.
A better version that has his contacts in.
that's wearing he's 20/20 vision
or reg specs. He's gotten LASIK. This is Joe Skates if he'd gotten LASIK.
I mean, let's keep it real. Like going back, looking at that year, he's getting games with just one catch, right? So, one example, one catch, 51 yards for a touchdown. One catch, 58 yards. And then he's got a 1 for 10. Nothing too crazy there. 2 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. 1 catch for 53 yards. 1 catch for 45 yards.
I mean, they're just sending this dude on a fly.
Yeah. I think it's all depending on how you use him. Like you got to scheme him, right? Like you can't just let him rip one deep every time. I mean, I guess you could.
If he's running 22 miles an hour, then yeah.
Yeah. You just use him as a decoy.
Moped going down the sideline. I want to see freaking Shorter versus the helmet race. The helmet's going to need 30-yard head start.
That helmet's that's not fair.
Scott was going to have to put some nitrous in the.
That's not fair. The helmet gets a head start, and that always was like, but I guess it takes a minute to get going.
You got to get going, man. You got to get moving. It's like me running.
Yes.
You got to give me a head start so I can get moving. Once I get moving, though, 22 miles an hour is where I'm at. But
then you better give him some room to stop.
Exactly. Don't get in my way. I have to run a 400-yard dash to get my 100-yard time. Sorry. That was dumb.
If there is one area I'm concerned about here in the spring for the football team, what is it?
I'm gonna say secondary, and it's not
TJ. We're on the same wavelength. That's what I was gonna say.
Well, and I'll back it up when I say that, and it's because I think last year they played with a couple guys out of position, and then they started rotating guys consistently. Like Ross should not be a safety. He shouldn't be playing that inside nickel. I think he is a lockdown corner. They brought in 4 or 5 different safeties that I think they can play back.
Talked about, I think losing Ross hurt a lot too.
Oh my God.
For sure.
He's like Arkansas State. What was it? The 4th game of the year?
Yeah.
Like third game of the year?
It was early.
No. I don't know. Considering you lost a couple pretty key pieces, obviously both your starting safeties are gone. Simeon Blair, obviously off, graduated, can't play anymore. Losing Cam Smith to TCU or State? No, it's TCU. To TCU. Two starting safeties gone. And if they're going to move Ross back to corner as opposed to playing that that hybrid nickel position, then you got to fill a void there. And we saw some flashes with DJ Bell last year. You saw late in the year, Tyron Taylor getting a lot of snaps. Yeah, Bell definitely disappeared. Now I think there were some injuries there, but then they bring in guys. There's a guy from where did Blake Watson play? Why can't I remember the name of that school? Old Dominion. There's a guy from Old Dominion that came in. Yeah, there's a couple of guys that had come in the secondary that I'm not exactly sure what they're going to play.
They got PJ Lucas from Indiana. No, that's
yeah,
DL.
the dude's like, he's a D lineman. He's like 350 pounds. I'm excited about that guy.
Cortland Marsh from Sanford, who Noah says
Mm-hmm.
reminds me a lot personality-wise of Quindell Johnson. Always positive, always here for it, encouraging teammates, always working with a smile on his face. Shown some leadership. Really excited to get him out there.
I mean, let's not forget you still have Diego Brumfield, you still have Andarius Coffey, you still bring back. I mean, Julian Barnett still got time, right? Like, are these guys?
There will be depth there.
There's going to be a ton of depth. The question is who's going to rise to the top, right? Like, will they be? Yeah. But I think getting Davion Ross back and him being healthy is going to be massive for the secondary.
And to TJ's point, playing him where he probably is best suited, which is lockdown corner.
So then who coming out of the spring? Who do you think you're going to be your starting corners?
Jeez.
You think it's going to be Brumfield and Davion?
I think it'll be Ross and probably Brumfield. I don't know. I mean,
I thought Tyron Taylor looked good though.
He did look good, but
athletic.
I'm curious if he is better suited for that nickel position because he is longer.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could also see them wanting someone who's a little thicker and is able to make those surefire tackles in there, right? Because that's still a guy who has run support duties at times and sealing the edges.
TJ,
so
with Javonte and Chandler at the second level, nobody's getting to the secondary to be tackled.
You've basically got a quasi safety up close to the line of scrimmage with Chandler. He can run that fast. Like, dude, come on.
I mean, if somebody's getting past the second level, it's Chandler's out of the game.
There's questions around the Indiana guy, Jordan Greer, if he's going to be a corner, if he's going to be a safety. Obviously, that's going to change some stuff there as well, depending on where he ends up. But we'll see. We still got plenty of time before we get there.
Yeah, we got just over 3 weeks from the spring game.
So who are your safeties? Who are your starting safeties then? Do you think?
I know.
I don't think it is Ruben. I don't know.
You don't think it is?
I mean, he is an easy one to pencil in, just because there's familiarity with the staff there, right?
He'd be a 4-year starter.
Yeah, you know that what you're going to get from him, right? I don't want to not mention one of the transfers. I'm confident one of them came here with the intention of starting, right? And who is it? Is it the Rael guy? Is it Greer? I don't know, right? Is it Watts? There was another DB that came in. There's just so many names that have come in, and I guarantee they all came in and said, hey, we're ready to work. And one of them is obviously going to pull out. Like, I don't think it's going to be guys we had last year, but I've still said Julian Barnett needs to be moved to safety, and I think that fixes an issue for us. But
that's what I was about to ask, if you thought maybe Julian gets thrown back there.
I mean, Julian would be a good candidate for that spot that Ross was in before he got hurt. Same with before Coffee got moved there.
Wasn't it
Cameron Miller?
The star position? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that little hybrid safety nickel position, right?
Yeah.
Coffee played it last year. I think Cam Miller's a good fit for it. Jalen Johnson, the guy who transferred in from Ohio State last year, he's a little thicker, not exactly the best in coverage, not as fast as probably as you want him to be. Obviously, on his second year in the program, he probably could have improved a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out.
Well,
it's early. It's so early.
6'1", 211, Jalen Johnson. That's a big kid. It's big.
Yeah, he's thick. He's essentially a linebacker playing secondary sometimes.
Are y'all ready for they're not doing it on Friday, so it's not Friday Night Stripes this time, right?
I know. RIP to Friday Night Stripes. What a good name. Saturday's better, though.
Yeah. I can't wait for that game.
TJ and I are going to be so it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. You cut out. What are we going to be?
So sunburned?
Oh, yeah. That's a gimme.
Probably wind
get a
chapped
base
as
layer
well.
Down, dude. That's the worst.
Dude. I guess by that point, the Renos wouldn't have started yet because they're starting in May, right?
Yep.
Correct.
So we'll still be able to sit on the home side for the last time, TJ. For the last time as the Liberty Bowl or Simmons Bank as we know it today.
Wow.
It's gonna be a special afternoon.
We'll see. I'll believe that when we get there.
You'll believe what? That the construction's starting? You don't think it's going to start?
I mean, it probably will. I don't think it's going to be the last time we can sit over there on the home side.
Well, that's true. I mean, you can sit in the chair backs.
Yeah.
The expensive seats with my parents over there. Lifetimers. All right, let's get on this fireside and get out of here.
Well, what do you think?
I like Fireside. As always, with Memphis, we haven't done one in a long time. And outside of the, I forget which one it was that was SpongeBob themed. They're all dumb. Your cans are dumb.
Aye, Captain.
Need more creativity. But I do enjoy a fireside. I feel like tonight was a great night for a fireside as it stormed outside. Amber Ale, 5.1%. TJ, go up there. I mean, this is like a 7-7 for me.
Wow, that is definitely up there. I was not prepared for that.
I didn't give a can score. I'm going 5-1 on the can, just as the alcohol content is, because as we've discussed, Memphis made cans are boring.
Wait, I gotta put this in here. I'm so bad about keeping up with the
scores.
The Excel sheet here, and I need to put it in here so I can prove you wrong when you say, "Oh, we've had that before."
I really thought we'd already done Fireside.
What was your can score? I'm sorry.
5-1 to match the alcohol content.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
this is a basic can. I just noticed that Kenny disappeared on us.
He does do that. Trey, it's interesting. You gave a 5-1 to Andy's Mint on their can.
Did I? I'm consistent.
So 5-1 is just your Memphis made score, except actually you gave a higher score. You gave Memphis's truck a 6, and
okay. Well, the more and more that I see them, the lower they're getting. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm with you though.
What did I give II Captain? I gave II Captain bonus points because it was SpongeBob. They at least incorporated SpongeBob. I didn't.
You gave a low score. You should have given a higher score. You gave it a 4.3, but you liked the beer. The beer was up there.
Oh, sorry, II Captain. I mean, that's the best can of all of them.
It is the best can.
Score.
And you gave it the low score. How dare you? The can sucks. I'll be frank. And I'm probably going to give it maybe like a 4.4. I just think these are so boring. But with the boring can, they make up for it with the beer. I don't love Fireside.
It says this can and the word fun do not go together. Should not be on there. Illegal procedure.
I think the beer is really good. What did you say for the beer?
7-7.
7-8, 7-7. Let me update that before I forget. It's in a 7s. I could definitely have 2 of them, right? I would drink 2 of them back to back. So I've got to go higher than 7 flat.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm a 7-7. I think I'm more of like a 7-3, maybe. Because there is something extra going on there. Like, I don't know what it is. I feel like I need to drink water and clear my mouth. But this is a good one. And I know that I am the weirdo for not loving it the way everybody else does. There's some people that just crush these, and I just can't do it.
I mean, I can definitely.
I don't know what it is.
But even
with that,
you agreed with back-to-backs. You could take 2.
Yeah. I can definitely do back-to-back. It's just more like I'm not going to sit there and drink 4 of them or anything crazy like that. If I'm at a bar, I'm going to have 1, and then I would switch to a different beer. I'm not going to drink 2 of them back-to-back because that just makes me feel like I'd be an unstable human being if I did that.
You just said you would drink 2 of them back-to-back.
No, I said I could drink 2 of them back-to-back.
In what setting would you drink 2 of them back-to-back if that was the only option?
If I'm not a football game, it's cold, chilly day, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a good cold day beer.
Like at the American Conference Championship on Friday night next year.
Exactly. I think that is a perfect use of it.
I think so too.
All right, Trey.
Well,
you want to sign us off?
We will be back next week, so bring your cold beer and stay for our hot takes. Sayonara.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Like and subscribe at Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports.